Hey, kind of just wanted to use this platform as a kind of a rambling while I go out for my late like cigarettes or, when I can't sleep at night. I'll try to keep this short. I have a tendency to ramble. I just kind of wanted to just have this be like a cathartic thing, but I don't know if that's the right word. I want to talk about a few things, get off my chest. I've always had an issue with how people choose to enter your life, and not necessarily like enter it, because I don't have problems making new friends or being cordial or being nice to people. That's never the issue. The issue is when they choose to leave, You want people realistically to, if they're a good friend, and all this is, my opinion. I don't want anybody to get sour. People choose to leave because they have no use of you, Whether that be because they grow up, it happens. I was raised military. I lived in the United States. I lived over in Germany. Flip-flopped for 18 years. By far the greatest experience of my life. I miss it. That's why I'm trying to get back into it now. Don't smoke, kids. It's bad for you. I was very fortunate to live that life. And sometimes I wish I did have the opportunity to live in a small town where everybody knew each other, so I would, pass people on the street and say, hey, I know you. We had whatever grade together, And, it's nice, I guess. It's the best way to put it. When I was younger, I kind of put military kids above civilians, which I know is wrong. I know we're no better now. But back then, I was like, and I don't mean any offense, please don't take any of it to heart. Military kids, especially during wartime, deal with certain things. We deal with our parents leaving. We deal with, if they're going to come home in a pine box, if we're going to get that knock on the door saying, oh, well, your parents got killed. Sometimes I felt like, civilian kids didn't have to deal with that as much, which, you don't. Like I said, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just, a lot of kids who are military kids, and the ones on here, if this gets popular, whatever, will know what I'm talking about. They know what it's like to have parents be deployed and have to worry every time they watch the news, hoping to see their parents' name, but at the same time hoping they don't, because you don't want to know what happens. I was unfortunate, I'll say unfortunate, and maybe I'll make a video one day explaining why, saying, I was very unfortunate to have both my parents be in the military at the same time. It's a blessing and a curse, but it's more of a curse. My father is a hardest working man I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. He was a Chinook mechanic. Chinook is a helicopter, kind of looks like a upside down telephone. and my mother was a medic. They both saw how twisted I think the world can be. Check my battery power limit. 10%. Okay? I'm gonna spark up another one, and then I'll take you guys upstairs. You know, those of us who lived through 9/11, we remember where we were. I was in 2nd grade, coming home, remember what I was wearing, who I was with, my brother, I'm a twin, you know, we saw it on TV. We didn't think much about it, we were kids, you know, not even 10 years old. But one after another, parents started getting deployed. We started to be kind of a game, like whose parents would be deployed next. And when it was my parents' turn, you know, they were going through a divorce at the time. They're still together, which I'll make another video of that. Trust you me. You know, it was hard. I didn't understand it. I was angry, and for a long time, I was very sick. And I wish, you know, the situation had been different. But unfortunately, it was the way it was. And then we moved back to the States, and this is kind of like a rant / introduction. We moved back to Virginia, lived there for about 4 years, and then we got orders to go back, you know, a small town called Ansbach, lived on the Katterbach base. We lived there for about 2.5 years, greatest 2.5 years of my life, up to, you know, the current 2 years I've been living. Met a lot of friends, fantastic people, you know, because we were all the same. We were all there because our parents were in the military. And, you know, it was nice. My mother was still in, my father was getting out. But then when I moved back to the States, around 2012, when my brother graduated from high school, you know, it was all, oh, well, I'll see you, I'll talk to you every day, you know. And every day turned to, you know, still every day, but not so sporadic, you know. And then every week turned to, every day turned to every week turned to every couple weeks, every week turned into every couple months, and then years, and then, you know, not years, but every couple of years, every couple times a year. See, that I really don't have a problem with, because that's life, you know. You know, it's when you start turning into an adult. You know, I'm 24 now. You know, I haven't been to Ansbach in 5 years. You know, I still talk to a handful of them. My best friend, Davina, my girlfriend, and if you couldn't see that, I was using air quotes, Amber Lee. And, honestly, that's kind of it, you know. I wasn't popular, but I know a lot of people, small school. It was a middle and high school, It's no fun there, you know? I was very fortunate. Being an adult, people start leaving, and you don't understand it. Which is kind of a contradiction, because being a military kid, you understand that people leave. It's the nature of the beast. It is what it is, you know? But people who said they would always be there for you wind up leaving. And I struggle with that. You know, I wish people would stay, which is maybe selfish. Whatever, you know, I don't really care. It just is what it is. But I guess what my point is that I wish people were different. Maybe that's kind of a convoluted way to say it, but yeah, I mean, I wish people who say that they're gonna stay there forever actually do stay there forever, you know? That's life, you know? You can't change it. It is what it is, you know? So yeah, I'm almost done with my cigarette. And I'll head inside, wrap this up. And I'm gonna try and end this video, preferably the same way every time. Or I'll try to. Or, you know, leave a post-credit scene. I want to say to the people, if anybody watches this, anybody dealing with depression, anxiety, you know, feeling of abandonment, you're not alone. You know, you're not the only one dealing with it. Life gets better. Peace. Have a good night, and Happy New Year's.